If you don't know, we're going to be interviewing Raiders rookie Dont'e Thornton Jr. Thursday, July 10th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. He's going to be answering questions from the nation and myself for about 30 minutes, so I do really hope that you end up pulling up here, showing him some love. We're also going to be donating to his charity, Driven Throughout the Journey. If you don't tune in, honestly, I think you're an off-season loser. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Board, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at some off-season losers before training camp, and I have them ranked from 10 all the way down to 1. 1 is the biggest loser from this offseason. Now, if you haven't already seen the video that I did on the offseason winners, I hope that you go please check that bad boy out. Speaking of losers, we're losing right now to our Seahawks channel here at Chat Sports. We're down by about 20 subs. Since the Raiders played Seattle in that first preseason game, and since Pete Carroll and Geno Smith came from that regime, I'm battling the Seahawks today, fam over there, and I do not want to lose to them. So if you are not already subscribed, if Dont'e Thornton Jr. is not going to get it done, and if us losing's not going to get it done, I don't know if you even bleed silver and black. Let's go from 10. Let's work our way down to 1. Coming in here at number 10 as losers before training camp, I'm going to put wide receiver Jack Bech on this list. Let me be very clear. This is not due to the play of Bech. I've actually heard nothing but good things in terms of how he has looked this offseason. But the part of doing this show to me today was also about what has happened to the player from the beginning of them joining this team. And when the Raiders drafted Bech in round 2, I had a lot of hope that he was going to be a starter. I think a lot of you were thinking, all right, this is going to be a starter next to Bowers, next to Jakobi Meyers, and he's going to be above, somebody like Dont'e Thornton Jr. I would say right now, if the season started, it's Jakobi Meyers, and then your two outside guys are Trey Tucker and Thornton, and obviously Brock Bowers is going to be a part of that equation as well at tight end. But Bech has looked solid, and he's been a good player, and he's a reliable player. But because he has fallen down the depth chart a little bit, for that reason and that reason alone, I am going to list him as a loser. I do want to be very clear, though. I know that he technically hasn't signed his contract yet, and most second-rounders haven't because you can blame the Texans and that one. I forget the other team, too. And the Browns with Carson Swessinger and Jaden Higgins. They got guaranteed deals, but Jack Bech falling is only because Trey Tucker and Dont'e Thornton Jr. went up the list. Let's go to number 9 here next for our losers before training camp. And I'm going to say Jakorian Bennett. And it's kind of the exact same thing that I echoed with Bech earlier. I haven't heard anything bad necessarily about Jakorian. It's just, I would say that he was the best corner that we had on this team last season. He was better than Nate Hobbs. Let me be very clear. Jakorian Bennett was better than Nate Hobbs last season, and I think the stats absolutely prove that. He was light years better than Jack Jones. So if you would have told me the cornerback that was the best guy on our team and we moved on from the two other guys, I would sit up here and say that's a dude that's going to start. The problem is, I don't know if he is going to start right now. Eric Stokes, Darian Porter have been working with the ones, and they're also a part of this brand new regime where Bennett's a part of the old regime. And Pete Carroll knows what he looks for in a corner. And the fact that Pete Carroll is looking for a long, lanky corner, super athletic, which is exactly what Bennett is, and he's not working with the ones, maybe that's just because Pete has his eyes set on Stokes and Porter. But I do know that he's been dealing with some injuries. He's had dislocated shoulders. He's had a whole bunch of shoulder injuries. He says he's healthy. He's moving in the right direction. But because he took it a little bit slow this offseason, I'm going to put him in here as a loser. Let's go to number 8 here, linebacker Devin White. And when the Raiders signed White to a one-year, $1.2 million deal this offseason, I did not love it. And I still don't know if I love it. If Devin White's going to go out there and they're going to use him as a 3-down linebacker, you're not going to like the way you look, I guarantee it. If you let him be a athlete and let him be a little bit more of like an edge and just get after the quarterback on 3rd down, that's the Devin White role that he needs to play. The Raiders gave Landon Roberts and Jermaine Pratt more money. Again, White, $1.2 million. Landon Roberts got $3 million. Jermaine Pratt got a little over $4 million. Money talks in the NFL. So the fact that Pratt and Roberts are going to be your top 2 linebackers, that moves Devin White down a little bit. And then you got a young 7th rounder in Cody Lindenberg. But it's the coverage ability of Amari Gaynor, which I think might take White off the field a little bit more often than not. For all those reasons, I put him as a loser. So I got to know, though, from the nation, this is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. I believe Landon Roberts and Jermaine Pratt are the top 2 linebackers for the Silver and Black. But I want to know from all of you, who's the third best guy on this team? Is it Amari Gaynor? Is it Tommy Eichenberg? Is it Devin White? Is it somebody else? Please let me know. My answer coming up here after this YouTube ad break. I'm going to sit up here and I might give you guys an answer that you might not expect. I'm hoping it's Amari Gaynor, and I think it's going to be Amari Gaynor because of his coverage ability. Watch out, though, for Cody Lindenberg. They gave him a green dot, and they have a lot of confidence in that young man. Coming up here, number 7 on the list of my losers before training camp, I'm going to throw in Jordan Meredith at number 7. And I like Jordan Meredith a lot, and I think he's one of the more underappreciated players that we have on this roster. But Meredith was competing for a starting job earlier this offseason. There was a lot of speculation. Could he play right guard? Could he play left guard? And there was a lot of, hope and wonder if he could be the starting left guard. From what it sounds like, Parham starting left guard, Alex Kappa starting right guard. And the Raiders went out and got Kappa to just add a little bit more competition to that guard room. Where I really put Meredith and why I did really honestly put him as a loser is because the way that the Raiders were using Thayer Munford at the end of minicamp and OTAs, where Munford was used as the backup left guard because Parham ended up missing a few practices, and Munford was the guy that they ended up slotting in at left guard. My point is, if Meredith was going to get an opportunity to play, if he's behind Kappa and behind Parham, that gives him a better opportunity to get on the field. If he's behind Jackson Powers-Johnson, which right now, based on people that I talked to, Meredith has been working, still as a backup guard, but as kind of like that insurance policy at center, he's never going to play over Jackson Powers-Johnson, right? And it's kind of the same thing of, we have a great tight end in Brock Bowers, and it's no disrespect to Michael Mayer, but Brock Bowers is just that number 1. And it's no disrespect to Jordan Meredith, but JPJ is that number 1. Coming in here at number 6, we're going to go wide receiver Kyle Phillips. And early this offseason, Phillips was signed by Las Vegas, and it was one of the very first moves that the Raiders ended up making. Phillips was the first ever recruit by Chip Kelly at UCLA, and I was told by a good source, again, we're talking about probably back in March at this point, February, that Phillips was a sneaky guy to make this roster because of the little things that he was able to do, but also sure-handed receiver, and that was really important to Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll in this entire offense. But the Raiders went out and they drafted 3 wide receivers. And Tommy Mellott has been really impressive on special teams. Dante Thornton Jr. and Jack Bech have been really solid. Trey Tucker has taken a step forward. To me, though, because Tucker has taken that step and the Raiders are just so confident in Jacoby, Trey, Dante, Mellott, and also Jack Bech, I don't know if the Silver and Black end up keeping a 6 wide receiver. And because of that, I'm going to say Phillips is on the outside looking in, which makes him a loser. Before we get into our top off-season losers here by the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know about y'all, skies out, thighs out. I'm all about the Chubbies game. And if you haven't already taken advantage of this deal, well, listen the hell up. Summer's here, y'all, which means it's officially time to let the dogs out. And you might be singing, who let the dogs out? I'm trying to let the dogs out. Because if your pups have been stuck in jeans or sweats for the last few months, set them free with the Line Swim collection from Chubbies. Whether you're poolside, lakeside, or oceanside on that long-awaited vacation, I know I'm ready for mine. These trunks are ready to travel. Life's too short for uncomfortable swim trunks. So these babies are set up for all-day comfort with a quick, dry stretch fabric and a built-in liner that actually does its job. No more chafing, no more soggy butt, no more mesh disasters. And when the sun goes down and you're heading to the beach to dinner, swap into a pair of Everywhere shorts. They fit right, feel right, and go with everything. And after wearing them once, you'll find yourself wondering, why did I even wear other shorts? So whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, a cookout, or a casual Friday, or who knows, maybe even a crazy Raiders live show, Chubbies has you covered. And for a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your order with our code CHAT at chubbyshorts.com. That's code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at chubbyshorts.com. Support the Raiders Report. Tell them that we sent you because summer's here. Dress like it in Chubbies. And again, this link for all y'all is going to be down in the comments. It's going to be in the description of today's show. I'll also mention that this shirt is from Chubbies, and if you want it, you can also get your hands on it, though that discount does not count for this shirt here. I will be very clear. But appreciate all y'all who always tune in, and I'll always say this. If you're somebody that likes to support a company of just good people, I've been a part of the Chubbies brand, if you will, since 2018, 2017 when they were sponsoring us way in the back of the old G Chat Sports days. I love the people that run Chubbies. I think that they fit just like the type of people Chugs and I are, and those are the type of companies that I like to support. Let's go to number 5 here. It's going to be Dylan Laube at the running back position, and he was drafted in the 6th round last year by this previous regime. The problem is, though, I don't even know if he's going to make this roster, and the Raiders drafted Genty, number 6 overall. They signed Raheem Mostert to a cheap deal who's got a connection to Chip Kelly. But the problem with Laube is he's not going to get opportunities in the running game. Like, if the Raiders decide to hand Dylan Laube the ball instead of Mostert or Ashton Genty, I'm going, why the hell do we let Luke Getsy run this offense again? But where I thought that Laube was going to have an opportunity to shine this year, or at least get an opportunity to shine, was going to be right when for special teams. And Tommy Mellott has really stepped up, and he's showing the Raiders that, hey, I can be that special teams guy. Trey Tucker, I don't know if he's going to get as much special teams work because of how much he has stepped up in the receiving game. But if Laube's not getting special teams reps, I don't really see how or when he's going to be able to step onto the field. And the Raiders want guys that hang on to the football, that secure it, don't put the ball on the ground. Laube had a lot of issues with that last season. So, old regime replaced by Tommy Mellott. Unfortunately, I think that makes Laube a loser. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be Darnay Holmes at cornerback. Right now, probably listed as the Raiders' top nickel, but Patrick Graham has ties with Holmes. And the reason why Darnay Holmes joined the Raiders last season is because he had ties with PG back in their days with the New York Giants. The fact that Patrick Graham has been using a rotation at nickel and he has the connection with Darnay Holmes tells me almost everything that I need to know about where they think about Holmes playing nickel. Thomas Harper has been getting more reps at that top nickel position than Holmes. So, therefore, that kind of bumps him down a little bit. I also know the Raiders are going to use a bunch of different safeties. They're going to use a bunch of different looks, I think, to replace that nickel safety position. Isaiah Paul-Amal would step up last season playing the nickel. You're going to see, I think, Jeremy Chin do the exact same thing. I think you're going to see Thomas Harper step up, Lonnie Johnson Jr. step up. And because all these players are above Holmes, I don't know if he's even going to make the roster. And because he was somebody that I thought could potentially start, I'm going to label him as a loser. Let's go to number 3 here. It's going to be Trey Taylor at safety. The former Jim Thorpe Award winner, drafted in the 7th round. And because he's on the roster bubble, that unfortunately makes him a loser. I like Trey Taylor. I like his skill set, and I do think he's going to end up making an NFL roster, and he's probably going to be one of those players a few years down the road where we're like, man, if the Raiders would have kept him, he could have been a reliable special teams player on the back end. But the Las Vegas Raiders re-signed Isaiah Paul-Amal very quickly this offseason. I actually think it might have been their very first move that they did during free agency. They gave him a 2-year, $8.5 million deal. Thomas Harper is above him on the depth chart. You signed Lonnie Johnson. You brought in Jeremy Chin. I look at this Raiders secondary, and I think that they're going to keep 4, maybe 5 safeties. Chin, Paul-Amal are locks. Lonnie Johnson Jr. is a lock. If they decide to keep another one, is it going to be Harper? Is it going to be Taylor? I'm telling you this. Thomas Harper is above Taylor. If they keep 5 safeties, Taylor's got a shot. If not, I don't really think that he's going to have a shot to make this team. Before I reveal my top 2 biggest losers from this Raiders offseason, I hope that you guys go check out this video, my offseason winners, which, not going to lie, I enjoy doing these a lot more, but I always try to be very transparent. I was talking to a former Raiders player literally just the other day, and he was like, I appreciate your honesty, even though, the fact that I'm sure there's going to be Raiders guys that watch this like, this son of a gun's naming me a loser. Well, how about this? Concentrate on the winners if you don't want to watch the losers. But if you made it this far in the video, hey, go check this one out. It's down in the comments, down in the description. Let's go to number 2 here on my losers before training camp. Linebacker Tommy Iikenberg. And I like Iikenberg, and I feel like I've said I like this player, and then I just fill in a bunch of buts afterwards. Drafted in the 5th round, and another dude that finds himself on the roster bubble, previous regime. The Raiders went out and they signed Jermaine Pratt. They went out, they signed Landon Roberts. They went out, they signed Devin White. They drafted Cody Lindenberg, who was kind of the backup to Roberts and was given the responsibility of giving the green dot. The biggest thing that I've heard about my concern for Eichenberg, I've actually heard some good stuff about Eichenberg this offseason. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a few practices where I was told he was one of the biggest winners. But the thing that really set me off where I was like, if they're giving the green dot to Cody Lindenberg, who's going to play that Eichenberg middle linebacker role, I think that tells me what they view like Eichenberg, and I think it tells me how they view Lindenberg. They also showed you that they're not afraid to move on from a previous linebacker that was a part of an old regime, like Amari Burney. But to me, the biggest loser heading into training camp for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I mean this because it's not close at all, it's got to be Christian Wilkins, the Raiders defensive tackle. This contract might go down in the books as one of the worst contracts the Raiders have ever given out, and I hope that I am wrong in saying that. I hope that I get absolutely positively clowned all season long because I mean this. There is nothing that would make me happier than Christian Wilkins giving me a big old FU, going out there and having an all-pro type of season. Nothing would make me happier. But I was told that he needs a second surgery. I was told that his 2025 season is up in the air. I was told that the Raiders want him to get the second surgery. Wilkins doesn't want to have it, and he's been in and out of this walking boot, and it's just a very confusing situation. Hell, a few months ago, Pete Carroll said it's going to be a long process, and you could tell even in Pete's answer that it is going to be a long and grueling process. But when the Raiders brought in Wilkins, they gave him $27 million a year. The expectation was that he was going to be that solid defensive tackle that makes Tyree Wilson better, Malcolm Kuntz better, Max Crosby better, and be that big-time focal point on that defensive line to help us forget that we didn't take Jalen Carter, right? My point is this. I know that Christian Wilkins, when fully healthy, can be an absolute menace on the defensive line, and he's a stud. But right now, I'm concerned that we're not going to get 100% healthy Wilkins. And I'm concerned that the next time that you're going to see Wilkins out on the field, the Raiders are going to be paying him $37 million, which is what he makes in 2026. And in 2027, he's making $33 million. But because of what the expectation is with Wilkins and because of all the uncertainty, I have Christian Wilkins as the biggest offseason loser for the Las Vegas Raiders. If you want more in depth of the Wilkins injury, you can go check out this video. It's going to be down in the comments and description of today's show, just to get a little bit more information of what exactly Wilkins is dealing with. So one more time here, if you haven't already, take a screenshot of this and make sure you tag me on IG. Make sure you tag me on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365 for some of the Raiders offseason losers. And if you disagree with me, don't be afraid to yell at me. And my standpoint, if you made it this far in the video and you want to yell at me, I am more than happy to at least see what you have to say. But hey, at the end of the day, I think the Raiders are getting better, and because the Raiders are getting better, certain names that maybe you did not expect to see are on this list.